Welcome back to another Rival Recap production special, the 10 for 10, where over the course of 10 years, I will present a 10-minute video at the draft highlighting the biggest storyline of the prior season. As you all know, the Borelli saga was a great success last year.
I believe Tony's was the first one. At the time, I thought it was a fluke and didn't really let it bother me. Then came Joe, that slug. This would have definitely fucked with my head regardless, but what made it exponentially worse was that he was at the game where his fucking kicker sniped a 40-yarder as time was winding down to bury me 6 feet under. The subsequent video he sent in the group me of the kick, which I received in the early hours of the following morning, had me in tears for several days. But that was child's play compared to the unconsensual gorilla groping Ortiz massacred my body with.
Oh, what a masterpiece, work of art that was. I hope I can bring the same energy, same kind of commitment, fun that I brought last year. But this year, guys, we had a different storyline, and let's be honest, there was nothing more talked about in our league last season than the trades, and the trades that involved John Rast. So here we are today to break down John's trades. Did he win? Did he lose? And we're gonna dig deep and figure it out because he got a lot of backlash, more than I've seen in any trade year. There you have it, the Crasty Rasty Trade Extravaganza. Could I have come up with a better name? Probably. But here we are. Crasty Rasty Trade Extravaganza, guys. And you know what? I think the only way to really break down these trades in the best manner possible is to send it over to the big board. So you know what, guys? We're going to send it over to Brian over at the big board, and we're just going to break down these 8 trades that John made. Send it to Brian. Hey, thanks, Brian. And we're over here at the big board. Not as big as you guys might have expected, huh? But here we are. And we're going to go with the first trade. And this was a pretty minor one, not too crazy. But Rast traded with Sklar. Rast received Duke Johnson after, I believe it was week 2. And Sklar received Jared Goff. So, on paper, Goff for the rest of the season put up 140 points. Duke J with 105.8. Okay, you might think, all right, yeah, Goff's, had more points. That's a win for Sklar. But, honestly, I think it's more of a wash, because you know why? This was actually Rast's backup quarterback. He had Tom B, and he put up more points than Goff did with 157 for the rest of the season. Neither is a crazy number, honestly, both kind of ass, but I guess John traded away his backup quarterback for pretty middle of the pack, average running back. So I mean, he got rid of the right quarterback, I guess you could say, rather than getting rid of Brady. But was Duke Johnson the guy to trade for? Probably not. So you know what? It's a wash. It's a bit of an L, but it's a wash. And there's not much more to say on that one. So we're just going to move on to the next trade. So here we are. We got trade number 2 up on the board. Joe Narduli receives Zach Ertz, sends over Malcolm Brown of the Rams, Darren Waller, and Deebo Samuel. And on paper, people were like, what the fuck? You just traded one of the best tight ends for a guy that we don't know much about. Yes, was there Hard Knocks hype? Yes, was Joe whispering in John's ear? All of the above, yes. But we had no idea. And on paper, this looked like John was trading away his 3rd pick overall, Zach Ertz, for Waller and 2 guys we didn't know much about. And we're fortunate, though, because we got a live look at how those trade talks went down. So we're just going to send it over there.
Hey, John. How are you doing today? Hey, Joe. John, I know exactly how to make your team better. I just have all the pieces that you need, and trust me, the guy that you have is not that good. Joe, I don't know. I'm looking to make some moves, but I really don't know. I don't. John, this could be us, okay? Jeepers, take them all. Just whoever you want. Hand pick them. Maybe you'll come back later. Just. Okay.
Huh. And with all that nonsense going on, what's the end result? This trade. And as you can see, I've already had the 134 for the rest of the season for Ertz.
that Joe received. And guess what, guys? I don't even need the other players because you know what? Waller, 138.9 for the rest of the season. Malcolm Brown probably put up like 20. I don't even know. And Debo didn't come on till late, and by that point, Rast had already traded him. So the main thing was Ertz for Waller, and Rast won. It's not by much, but a win's a win, especially when you're getting that much shit and that much just fuckery thrown at you in the group chat. So, you know what, John? I'll applaud you there. But we got some fun ones coming up, let me tell you. We're going to move on to the next trade. And here we are 4 weeks later. And you know who John's trading with? John's trading with Joe again, and he's tossing around some pretty big freaking names. And you know what, guys? We were fortunate enough to have a live look at this one as well. Let's see how it went down. All right, now you can see up on the board we have the point breakdowns of this trade for the rest of the season after it had happened. Joe, 146 points over there to John's 112, give or take. So, I mean, that's pretty cut and dry. Joe won this trade. And if James Conner didn't get hurt, which Rast says he expected, okay, this would have been an absolute annihilation of a trade. Josh Gordon, he played like 2 games for the rest of the season. Shepard, yeah, okay, he wasn't hurt at the time. Maybe he was. I don't know. Maybe Joe knew something, but he barely played for the rest of the season as well. Aaron Jones was a beast for like 2 weeks, and then John also shipped him off, so not even all those points were John's. But yeah, Joe, you took him to town on this one. Honestly, with Mike Evans alone, and the fact that you got James Conner, which was his first round pick, I mean, that's a big win to Joe, John. That is an X with a circle around it. That was your worst trade, I would have to say. You thought you won this one, but you didn't. That's really it. On that note, we're going to go on to the next trade. Here we are, trade number 4, same week. Pretty much right after he made the trade with Joe, he goes and trades with Ian. He sends Darren Waller Ian's way, who puts up 60 points for the rest of the season, and he gets in return Christian Kirk, who puts up 74.7 for the rest of the season. I believe the first week John got Christian Kirk, he put up about 40 points or something gross. And yeah, that was really it. And then he had some average weeks. I believe he ended up shipping him off anyway. But you got to think, wide receiver to tight end value, he's given up a lot in Waller. I don't even know who he was running at as tight end for the rest of the season. Gesicki, he had to make a waiver wire pickup of some sort, and like that doesn't weigh out in my head. You want to hold on to a good tight end. You had 2 of them, they're both out of your hands now, and you get Christian Kirk, who yes, he probably won you that week. Which, John, you were thinking week by week, and hey, maybe that's what you got to do to get 6 or 7 wins and make it into the playoffs. But the rest of us assholes were going for the long haul, and it didn't work out for all of us. So, John, that's a wash. That's a wash. I mean, I don't understand it, but I guess it didn't negatively impact you. So here we are. You know what? We're gonna go on to the next trade, guys, and I'm gonna make this one quick because it was Ty he received, and he traded Josh Gordon. And I mean, I'm not even sure why Sedano would accept this trade, but Josh Gordon, as we saw before, 8.7 points for the rest of the season, and Ty with only 4.8. So that's also just garbage. So that's why I wanted to speed through that. You guys can see that pretty easily. Garbage. Okay? And you know what? While Ian's still on the board, we're going to just keep it going here because then he flipped Ty into Alshon. Okay? And Alshon had 28.7 points for the rest of the season. Ooh, guys, he traded up 4.8 for 28.7. But hey, that's a win. I saw Ian's mindset. He wanted the guy who might come back for the playoffs. Didn't work out that way. Ian maybe fell a few points short in the end. And not that Alshon really would have been much better, but there you have it, guys. That was trade number 6. And on that, we're going to erase this, and we're going to come back for trade number 7. See you in a minute. Do them together as well because, you know what, they involve Packers running backs, and this was a head-scratcher for everybody because John trades for Jamal Williams, who is the second option, was floating around the waiver wire all season with Weston, and gives up the Bears' defense and Christian Kirk, who he had recently traded for. Now, this trade didn't amount to much, but John gave away like an okay defense and a receiver for a running back, which is a little more value. And guys, just to note, these are only through the regular season. John only made it to the first round of the playoffs. I didn't even include that. This is only through the regular season, these numbers. So, yes, it could be a little flawed. But, John, his top one's an L. Okay? I don't know why you did that, personally, but hey. And then you go on and you trade. So at the time, you have 2 Packers running backs. Everyone's like, what the hell is he thinking? And then he just goes and gives Aaron Jones to Charlie after Aaron Jones has been tearing it up all season. And he gets back in return Allen Robinson, Kenyon Drake. And you know what? Those 2 guys probably got John into the playoffs. So you know what? This is a win. I did not take into account Aaron Jones' production for Charlie in weeks 14, 15, 16. I just wanted regular season, see how it got rasped through. But, I mean, if Charlie had these 2 guys... I mean, Kenyon Drake had one hell of a week 15 and 16 as well. So maybe Charlie would have won even easier. But, I mean, in the end of the day, Charlie's the champion. He gets as many checks as he wants. So, you know, Aaron Jones did great for him in the playoffs. But, John, you definitely did well on this one with Allen Robinson and Kenyon Drake. I'll give it to you there. So, John, you made 8 trades. I got 4 wins, John. I got 4 wins, okay? And you know what? 4 out of 8 ain't so bad. Like, unlike the rest of us who barely take chances, I think I made 2 or 3 trades, and I don't know if I won a single one, to be honest with you. That could be an interesting breakdown, but it's just not worth anyone's time because I was trash. So, yeah, on that note, we're going to send it back to Brian down in the studio. Thanks.
Let's get into the interview portion of this video. And John, will you be trading your first 3 picks again to Narduli?
Again this year, I don't think anybody looks at their team and says, "Hey, I'm going to give somebody else in the league all 3 of my picks immediately after." That wasn't a design, just something the way the cookie crumbled last year. With Big Ben going down, I did not like James Conner becoming the bell cow and really probably taking on a lot more touches, and he got injured. So I guess I was right there. Hated Mike Evans on my team. He's good for 5 games. You get 5 wins out of him, and then he zeros the rest of the year. I don't even know who my 3rd pick was, but whatever. Next question. As I'm recording this, Joe Narduli has texted me 5 times about switching picks. And I stopped responding, and he said, "Realized you haven't responded. Wanted to make sure you're okay." Great guy, Joe.
Question number 2. What was so charming about Joe? Did he cast a spell on you or some shit? I mean, your first 3 picks, John.
Spell or some shit. Well, I think we all know that there's nothing charming about Joe. I say that with complete confidence. It was more of the emotionality. He got a rise out of me, realized that I was in some type of spots. And, you know, it's like doing business with the devil, honestly. I realized I needed to make some changes. He was the only one offering any viable options, and I like to make moves. And I made him. He did not cast a spell or some shit. I think as we go through the data here, I still don't know the results, but I don't think it's as bad as everyone's making it out to be. So I don't think on paper I get it. You know, it looks crazy, but there were some methods to my madness that.
John, go to the next question. Will you have a different approach to your season this year?
Who's to say, man? I'm very situational. Don't have a long-term strategy. You know, everyone wants to draft their whole team at the beginning of the year and just have it be great, but that's not the reality. So, you know, I'll tell you this: I won't be, you know, hopefully trading away my top 3 picks, but if some situations arise, then hey, that's what we got to do.
All right. Overall, John, you made 8 trades. 8 trades last season. Would you expect the over or the under on 8 trades again this year?
I'd say hit the under on that one. That took a lot of time. going through all 8 of those trades. Thankfully, I was unemployed, so that's pretty much all I had to do.
Final question. Any words for the haters? Because there were plenty of them, myself included, I'd say, last season. Any thoughts?
None, honestly. I remember everyone talking all the shit about, oh, John got trade raped and this and that, and like, if you need to feel better about yourselves for not making any moves that propelled you into the playoffs, or even having a chance, then by all means, say what you got to say to make yourself sleep at night. But again, I did what I thought I had to do, and made it to the playoffs. And unfortunately, that didn't work out too well. But if you look at my last 3 games of what would have been if I had gotten past Ian, I would have won the playoffs. So I finished 5th in the consolation. I know it doesn't mean anything, but I was in a pretty good position. So again, to the haters, I say, say whatever you got to say to make yourself feel good.
It was wonderful to hear from our guy John Rast, and you know what? After all these trades, the man did make the playoffs last year. So I guess, regardless of what I just said, he did have kind of a win there because we were roasting him. I did not make the playoffs. 5 other of you guys did not make the playoffs. So really, who's laughing? But you know what? For the final moments of this documentary, we're going to send it over to none other than the villain himself, Joe Narduli, who's going to give a bit of his side to the story of these trades and a few words for the boys, as he is the other member who was not able to be in attendance this year. Thank you. Send it over to Joe.
Hey guys, wanted to first say apologize again for not being able to make it. Hope you guys had a great time. Wish I was there. Marsh asked me to comment on some transactions I made with Mr. John Ross last year. I think you guys saw the safe space segments last year where I clown Rast after the trades, and I think you'd expect the same here. But if you look back at the trades, I think Margie touched on this, or he's gonna touch on this. Like, they were pretty good deals for Rast. Ertz for Waller and Debo and Malcolm Brown worked out in his favor. And then the trade that I got Mike Evans and James Conner, and fuck me because they're both hurt in the playoffs. So, I don't want to spend more time beating John Rast to the ground because he doesn't deserve it. John Rast is a class act that made 2 great trades. And you know what? I'm going to tell you something. John Rast isn't afraid to make a deal. We have plenty of people in this league that won't even respond to my fair trades that I offer on a daily basis. I'm talking John Zidano. If I even text him, he won't fucking respond. You have Ian Jones, who is scared to make any move that doesn't involve dropping a kicker. Eric won't make a trade that doesn't rip the other people off. And what else? Fucking, I don't know what the hell goes through Weston's mind the whole time. Fucking Marullo. Nobody even wants to trade with the players on his roster anyway, so I haven't really explored that route. But nonetheless, John Rast, I commend you for accepting fair offers, for being a class act in negotiation. And I hope that the rest of you, we can engage in a similar dialogue this year. That's it. Marsh begged me to make this short, but I hope you guys have a great time. Wish I could be there, and I will see you guys on Safe Space. Godspeed.